like that hymn that we just sung because it tells us what we are doing in the world. You are God's witnesses. It's on. It's supposed to be on. How about that? Is that good? Oh, I turned it on. I'll talk louder. Louder, louder. There we go. The witnesses are really important for each of us in our daily lives because this is what God has called us to do, to be witnesses. That's part of everyday life, in everything that you do and everything that you say. You are witnesses for God. And I had some of them in my life this week, and I don't know whether they were Christians or not, but they were certainly God's witnesses because they spoke of His love. I wish the sermon today could be on the Good Samaritan because I saw a lot of Good Samaritans. They were fantastic. But I'll start with the sermon the way I had planned, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The beginning of the story comes with the beginning of the verses in the Gospel, where God has called us to rest. Rest is so very important. Why? Because it's what keeps us going. He's called His disciples who were busy, very busy men and women. And He called them to come away from schoolwork sometimes, from play, from activities, from work, the stresses in their lives, to come and be with Him. Be with Him. Why? Because all of these things in your life can get to you. They can stop you from being who God really planned you to be. Because you're so caught up in them. Now, I know some of you in this room have stresses in your life right now. For some of you it's health. For some of you it's jobs. For some of you it's personal relationships. All of us deal with stress in our lives. My last week showed me what stress was really like. And I'm going to share a little bit with you because I want you to know that without the help of other people and without God's protection and blessings, I wouldn't have gotten through this week nearly as well as I did. First was just a little thing that started when I got back from the triennial. I discovered somebody had stolen my credit card number and was charging things on my credit card. So I had to get all that clear. But the bank was very gracious and they took care of that. They found 3 more things coming in and I saw on the account I had it. That was gone. But last Tuesday, that was devastating. I have never gone through a day like that in my life. I got a call about 2:30 to 3 in the afternoon from my son-in-law saying that our daughter Marge, who drives a semi-truck, had been in an accident and was taken to a hospital in Indiana. They had no idea what condition she was in or where she was exactly. So pray. We prayed. Lots of prayer went out from everybody. We notified all of the family right away that she was in need of prayer. We sent it out on the prayer chain. Everybody needed to know because we needed the community. That's what we are. We're a community to be there for each other. Just like the Good Samaritan that she ran into on this journey of hers. What happened was she was driving down the interstate at about probably 60 miles an hour, whatever trucks can drive on that one. Parking on the side of the road was another semi-truck. And there was a car right next to her in the next lane. And somehow the edge of her truck touched the edge of the other truck. And she scraped the whole side of the truck, went off into a ditch, down through the ditch, and up into a cornfield. It triggered the gas tank. The gas tank went off, flames were engulfing the thing. Her cab was rocking back and forth. I think there were angels there. There had to have been angels because it eventually landed on four 8 tires. How many tires we got? And then she got out. She actually got out of that thing. And the Good Samaritan jumped over the barbed wire fence that was a few feet away and helped drag her back up over that fence and took care of her until help came. There is no reason that young lady should be alive today. That truck went up in flames, it exploded. There's no truck left. No personal belongings, no nothing. Everything is gone. but not her. That is a miracle of God. And we saw it that day. But what we saw too were all of the people that stepped up to help. And that's one of the things I want you to think about. What little thing might you do someday that would make a big difference in somebody's life? Another thing like her sister did when her sister got on the phone right away. Mind you, this is a sister that they haven't been getting along. They've been hardly speaking for a long time. But right away she was there. She was on the phone. She called and made a plane reservation for her. She called one of her best friends who lived about an hour from where Marge was in Indiana. Her friend came and took her home with her that night. They picked her out of the hospital. She had no money, no cards of any kind, nothing. She took her over to Walmart, bought her some clothes to wear, took her home, got her to the airport the next day. Unfortunately, TSA's got this wonderful little rule that you can substitute all kinds of other things with your name on it, so we had to fax to her. You know, this is God at work. This is the lives of people touching people in little ways or in big ways. The people that called and helped, the people that prayed. And for us, this was wonderful. And for her, it was fantastic. And so the next day after that, when I went to the airport with her husband to pick her up, she walked up from the plane. From the plane. It was amazing. She has cuts and bruises from going over the barbed wire. She's got a sprained, swollen wrist and hand. And miraculously, nothing else. Except her emotions, of course, and devastating going through something like that. And that you have to deal with for a while with the help from other people. But the amazing thing is God working in and through this to help that person who desperately, desperately needed it. As did we, because we were like, you know how parents are. Your kid's in trouble and you're going, oh. Especially when you don't know what's going on. But we finally got to talk to her that day, and that was good. But the time of rest, we could go back to the time of rest I was talking about, the necessity of getting away with God and restoring your emotions, your spirits, what's going on in your mind. You need that desperately. Never be too busy with your daily lives to have time to be with God. Spend that time. We say, oh, I don't have time to read my Bible today. Or I don't have time to do those prayers. I have to go do this activity. No activity is worth missing that time with God. You never know when you're going to need that relationship to get you through something. To be personal and be selfish about it. But the other thing is that the relationship with God is the most powerful thing that you could possibly have in your life. Just to know that God is walking through with you with your health issues, with your school issues, with your job issues, with your finances, with whatever. God has got you by His hand. And He won't let go. Sometimes we try to let go, but He won't let go. He's there. He's always there. It's a cool thing about it. I love that. So I would encourage each and every one of you today to spend that time with God. You need to refresh yourselves, to restore yourselves, to fill you with everything you need to walk through the major stresses of your life. And some of the minor ones, like the credit cards.